Okay, this is going to be such a needed conversation for those of you who are actively trying to conceive right now as we're heading into the holiday season. And this isn't like, eat this, don't eat that, like around the holidays. This is more of a like mindset, emotional, nervous system support during this time, because I know this time of year could be so exciting and like so fun, getting together with family and doing all the things. And also, it could be more triggering. It could be more difficult to handle the fact that you're trying to conceive. Maybe people are going to be asking more questions. Maybe it's just more of a reminder that you are still trying. Or a lot of people also announce their pregnancies around the holidays to do like cute little things with like the costumes or whatever the fuck, right? So, this is going to be such an important conversation for that. Before we get into it, though, I want to make sure that you know we have a podcast giveaway going on right now to celebrate 1 million downloads on the show. So freaking cool. So if you are on the email list, you definitely got an email about it today. If you aren't, first of all, what are you doing? Make sure you get on it. But also check out my Instagram. All the details will be there. So I did a post on it. If for some reason you missed it or whatever, you can message me on Instagram. But it'll be posted there and it will be in your email. But it's major and it's so good and I'm just so excited about it. Thank you all so much for helping us hit this milestone. I do not take it lightly and I can't wait to do this giveaway and to support all of you, and hopefully maybe you listening will be one of the winners. There's gonna be 5 winners, which is so great. So anyway, go check it out on Instagram if you haven't yet already. And also, while I'm on the topic, because I keep forgetting to mention this too, I will put a link in the show notes of questions you can ask me if you like want to have a question answered on the show. So if you are, just whatever, a question you have, like a specific question for you or whatever, like a topic you want me to cover, you could fill out in this type form. All you do is literally just put the question, and that way you could give me some details. And it's all in one place instead of putting like a question box on Instagram. So if you want me to answer a specific question or cover a topic on the show we haven't yet, there's a link in the show notes for that and you can check that out. Okay, so today's episode. So really, with the holidays coming up, there's 2 areas that I want to talk about. Number 1 is first protecting your peace. And the second one is working through your triggers, right? So it's like there's a time and place where it's going to be really helpful for you to just like block out the noise, maybe get off social or do whatever you have to do to protect your peace. And then there's also a time to allow those things to come into your space and get triggered by it, and then learn from the trigger and see the triggers as an opportunity to grow, because that's exactly what triggers are. So let's first start with protecting your peace, because that truly is just like first and foremost with everything in life, of protecting your peace. Because when you don't have that like peace within yourself, peace within your home, it's all consuming. And again, this doesn't mean like be naive or ignorant or never look deeper into things because it's uncomfortable. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But a few of my clients recently was like, I just got off social recently because it was just so much harder for me. Like, their TikTok algorithm was like just showing them all these horrible things. It was making them freaked out with trying to conceive, and it was harder. And they're just like, I'm scrolling for 2 hours. I'm like, I gotta get off. I'm like, perfect. So you need to ask yourself around this time of year, not just with social media, but social media included, what does protecting your peace look like with social media, but then also with family and friends when you're going to like holiday gatherings? Because with the social, obviously you can protect your peace by unfollowing certain people, by like deleting the app, by getting off of it for a while, by really creating strict boundaries around the amount of time you'll allow yourself on there, and also the time of day, like having like a hard stop, like, okay, after 8 o'clock, I do not go on my phone anymore. I do not go on social anymore. And I don't go on it till X time in the morning or until after I do X, Y, and Z, whatever. Like, look at what protecting your peace actually looks like. Because if you do find yourself, because we've all been there, like scrolling for hours at night and you feel like a piece of shit after because you're seeing these things that you don't want to see, it's really upsetting you because you are trying to conceive and you're seeing stuff you don't want, whatever it is, like, why would we continue doing that? Because we're addicted, and that's what social media does to you. But you have control over it. And really, around this time of year, I want you to know if, and maybe you're in a space where like it's fine with you, like that doesn't bother you anymore. That's perfect. If you worked through the trigger, it's not something that annoys you, it's not something that makes you upset. Even if it does make you upset, it's not something that totally ruins your day. You're upset for a few minutes and then you move on from it. Amazing. So really just check in with where you're at with that stuff and what you need to do in like the digital world to protect your peace during this season. And then the other part is like when you're actually gathering with friends and family. So unfortunately, people just think it's okay to say like, "Oh, are you guys trying, to have a baby? Like when are you going to have your next one? Or are you guys going to have kids? Or, oh, are you still trying? What's going on? How long?" People like to talk, people like to ask these questions. A lot of people, especially the older generations, like no shade to them, but seriously, they just don't have as much self-awareness. And so they don't understand how upsetting that could be, or maybe they have no idea that you've been trying, that's been hard for you, whatever, which is why you should just never ask somebody that. But a lot of the times people might ask you that when you're going to a holiday party, especially if it's people you haven't seen for a while and people are just trying to make conversation, or maybe they know you're struggling and they want to talk to you about it. So have a game plan, for like an overarching game plan for like you and your partner, of like, how are we going to support ourselves through this if this comes up, if and when these things come up. Like going in prepared with like a little script that you're going to say is going to be so helpful for you, because it's going to release the anxiety of you going in and being like, oh my God, are they going to ask me about it? What are they going to ask? What am I going to say? I don't want to talk about it. Da, da, da. Like all that like anticipation anxiety will be totally just eliminated if you go in with a game plan and like you and your partner are on the same page. Like, okay, if Aunt Sue asks us for the 15th time if we're still trying, or brings up whatever, we're just going to be like, and you could decide. Maybe you want to be like, oh, that's just not something we really want to talk about right now. Like, thank you so much for asking and being concerned, but like, we'd love, if we just could skip over that topic, and then just like start a new conversation. The way that you approach something, the way that you answer something is going to let the other person know if you are or are not willing to continue the conversation. Some people are going to pick up on the cue because it's going to be super obvious, and some people are just going to keep talking anyway. And that's where you could just be like, okay, I'm just going to go, go over here and get a drink, or go over here and talk. I got to go to the bathroom. Like, please get the fuck away from me. Okay. So you just decide if like you want to just be like, oh, like we just don't want to talk about it at all. And depending, maybe it's certain people you're going to say that, certain people you won't, whatever. Or if you're just going to be like, yeah, actually we are still trying. Things are going good right now. Not really a topic we want to talk about right now, but thank you so much for your concern. Like, you'll definitely find out when the time comes. And then like, that's it. Right. And obviously like you could say what feels best for you. I'm just giving you ideas of things that you could say. But the point is of having something prepared so that you're not blindsided, because it likely is going to happen. And so that you're not anxious going in of like, I don't know what to say. And so that you and your partner can be on the same page, because maybe your partner will like start talking to somebody about it. And then you're going to be like, wait, I don't want to be talking about it. I don't want them to know, da, da, da. So just like be on the same page about it. And then make it something where there's no wiggle room for them to continue asking questions. Like, again, thank you so much for asking. Like, we're just not ready to talk about it right now. You'll definitely find out, when the time comes. But how's Uncle Bill? Like, that's it. And so then they're going to get real quick, like, okay, this isn't something that they want to talk about. So definitely think about how you are going to approach that for protecting your peace in the actual situations. And then also too, like some of you might actually want to talk about it, especially if it's like just immediate family and it's people you trust and you feel maybe it's someone who also went through it. You know what I mean? So maybe you actually want to talk about it because you're a verbal processor, or something you want to talk about, or whatever it is. Like, that's awesome too. And that's totally fine. Maybe there's some people you want to talk about it and some people you don't want to talk about it. That's okay as well. However you feel. And you might even go in, be like, no, it's okay. Like, we could talk about it, and then change your mind. And you could change your mind at any point. A lot of times, especially as women, we feel like we have to be agreeable. We have to be nice. We have to just answer the questions. We're rude if we, just turn down a conversation, or we're rude if we walk away from a conversation. We're rude if we just be like, oh, actually, I don't want to talk about that. Like, please, don't ask me about it. You're not being rude. Okay. If a man did that, it would be fine. Okay. You're not being rude. You do not have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. You're saying it in a polite way. You're not saying like, hey, Aunt Sue, go fuck yourself. Okay. Like, that's not what you're saying. Okay. You mean if you wanted to, but like, you're just simply stating that that's not a conversation you want to have. And that's okay. You're not a bad person. You're not rude. You're not disrespectful. You're doing it in a nice way and you're moving on. You can exit a conversation whenever you want and it's totally fine. And if they find it rude, disrespectful, that's on them. That's their process. That's not a reflection of you. Okay. So just know that going in that that's okay. You do not have to. And also, this is another thing. Not only you and your partner being on the same page, but especially like maybe your parents. Again, I feel like with the older generation, or depending on like your cultural background, like my family is Italian, Spanish, like so there's like we like to talk, things are very open, like there are very little boundaries, very little boundaries. So if you know this is something that your mom or your parents or whoever would just talk about and not, then they wouldn't be doing it in a malicious way, but that's just how they are. Talk to them ahead of time, like, hey, mom, dad, whoever, I really don't want to be talking about this. So like, if it comes up, just like, this is what I'm going to be saying to people. So just so you're aware, I just don't want this to be a topic around the Thanksgiving table. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that could be very helpful as well, especially if you also have a family with very little boundaries where like, we just like talk about everything. So that I would also recommend doing. I was actually talking to a client about this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So those are the two things I would be looking at for protecting your peace digitally and then in the actual like event for the holidays. Now, the second piece to this is working through the triggers of when somebody asks you if you are pregnant or trying, or when you're going to start trying, or when you see someone post an announcement on social media, because again, there's so much of that around the holidays, or if it's just a trigger for you to just like be like, oh, I thought that maybe by this Thanksgiving we would have our baby, or whatever it is, right? Whenever something triggers you, meaning you have like a negative reaction to it and it's kind of out of proportion to what the situation was, right? So say you just are like, oh my God, like you just like can't handle whatever is asking. And I'm not saying that you're overreacting. That's not what I'm saying. Because again, we get gaslit so often as women with overreacting. But when it's something that triggers you, it's something that like brings something up within you of like, oh, okay, I'm feeling really upset. I'm feeling defeated. I'm feeling it's never going to happen. Like you're triggered by it. Okay. Whenever we're triggered by something, that lets us know that that's an unhealed part of us. That's literally what a trigger is. It's just an unhealed part of us. And that doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean you're bad, whatever. We literally, every single person on the planet has triggers. We are always going to be getting triggered by something. Not every day, obviously, maybe though, it depends on like where you're at in your journey, but we're always going to be having triggers because we are humans that are meant to grow and evolve. So when you're having a trigger, that's just letting you know that, oh, this is a part of me that's not yet healed that wants to come up and out so that it can be healed. So what I want you to start doing is when you get triggered, I talk about this all the time with my clients in the accelerator specifically, and this actually literally just came up with a few of them actually, where they were like, oh, I just found out a couple of my coworkers announced their pregnancy. I feel like shit because I was like really upset about it. And then I feel guilty for being upset about it. And I was like, listen, you're not like sending ill will to these people. Just because you're upset that somebody else announced a pregnancy doesn't mean you're like wishing them bad. Like you don't need to feel guilty. It's like switching this conversation in your head of like, well, why wouldn't you be upset? Of course you're going to be upset when you see that initially, right? It's like that initial reaction is very normal for you to feel that way when this is something that you so deeply want, right? Of course, it's not capital T truth, because a lot of times it's like, well, they have it and I can't. Why do they have it and I don't get to? That's like not a clean energy frequency. That's not the actual like truth of the situation. Of course, just because they have it doesn't mean that you can't. You know what I mean? But it's like, well, why wouldn't I be upset? You just like switch that question in your head, like, of course, it makes so much sense. However, we don't want to stay down in that for long. And so this is an opportunity to grow because, okay, so I felt this way when I saw my coworkers, announce a pregnancy. I felt this way when I saw 17 announcements during Thanksgiving and Christmas of, so-and-so getting pregnant, having a baby, whatever. So when you feel this way, can you ask myself, okay, what is the opportunity here? What is the opportunity for me? How can I see this differently? How can I, when you ask a better question, it's going to help your mind flip to you getting out of that trigger and to healing that part of you that is upset, instead of saying like, oh my God, I'm so guilty, or oh my God, I feel so defeated, this sucks, da da da. How can I see this differently? Okay, how can I see this woman posting that she's not pregnant? How can I see this differently? And if nothing is coming up for you, because nothing might come up for you, you can also switch it to be a little bit more neutral of like, I'm open to seeing this differently. Like God, source, universe, I'm open to seeing this differently. Help me see this differently. Show me the light, guide me towards a different perspective in this situation. I'm open to seeing this differently. You could even just say that instead of, how can I see this differently? Try both and see what comes up. But that one question is going to really shift how you're actually viewing the situation. So, how can I see this differently? I'm open to seeing this differently, right? It's like, okay, I'll just like play it as if I'm like in your head, right? Okay, how can I see this differently? Well, this woman announced she's pregnant, right? Okay, obviously, I want that. I want to be the one posting that. And so this is bringing up a sadness in me because it's just making me more aware that I'm not there yet. I'm not posting that I'm pregnant. Okay. But how can I see it differently? Well, it's showing that pregnancy is obviously possible. It's showing me this is something I really care about, right? Because if I'm upset, I'm triggered by it, it's showing that I really care about it. And it's showing me that, you know, I want to be posting that one day. And how can I see this differently? Well, one day when I post it, would I want someone to feel shitty about it when I'm posting my pregnancy? Like, no, of course not. Right? How can I see this differently? Well, I know one day I'm going to be posting that. And even though I wish it was right now, I'm excited for the day that it is going to come, and it's going to come in the perfect timing. And even though it seems like, this woman got pregnant right away and she didn't struggle to try to conceive, like, what the fuck? Why is she not struggling? Why am I struggling? We all have struggles in life. Every single human on the planet is struggling with something, period. Whether it looks like their life is perfect or not, everybody is struggling with something. Your path right now, part of your soul's like path, is a fertility struggle. This woman who maybe got pregnant right away, her struggle in life isn't fertility, but maybe it's like a chronic health issue, or maybe it's, a issues with her parents, or like that she doesn't have parents, or that she's, struggling with her marriage or her relationships, or did I say chronic health issue? I don't remember if I said that. Chronic health issue. Like, there's so many different things that could be going on in people's lives. We all have our own struggles that we are going to go through. Some people's are different than others. And it's like, well, I wish I just had the other struggle. It's like, do you though? Because we're given the struggles that we are able to handle and figure out, and that our souls are meant to figure out, so that our souls can grow in the way that they want to in this lifetime. That is annoying to hear, because you're like, well, I didn't fucking choose to not be able to get pregnant. No, you didn't choose that, but your soul is wanting to learn something in this experience. And that doesn't make it easy. It still fucking sucks. And that's just what I believe, right? So anyway, how can I see this differently? I'm open to seeing this differently. Choosing the triggers as an opportunity to grow. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to just like bombard yourself by all these people on social media and like scroll and be like, okay, well, I gotta grow, so let me just get triggered all the time so I can grow. It's like, no, there's a time and place for both. Like I said, if you are really intuitively feeling like, I want to get off social, I don't want to see this shit, okay, get off. Even if you do that though, you're still going to see someone walking down the street who's pregnant. You're still going to maybe have questions asked to you when you're out and about. It's still going to be a reminder to you wherever. So you're going to have plenty of opportunities to be triggered, and for you to see that as an opportunity to grow and to see it differently. And the other question I want you to ask yourself is, how can I love you more, and what do you need right now? Meaning to yourself. Like, you ask yourself, like, that part of you that's triggered, that little like girl in you that's triggered, or that unhealed version of you, because we have different parts to ourselves, right? So that part of you that's feeling triggered, ask that part of you, how can I love you more right now, and what do you need? How can I love you more and what you need? I heard my friend Jenna Kennedy, who's recently on the show, she was talking to her friend Samantha Skelly on a podcast episode. And I think it was Sam who said that, or Jenna, I can't remember which one. But I was like, I love this question. How can I love you more and what do you need right now? And just ask yourself that. When you're triggered, okay, how can I just love this little version of you that's hurting right now? How can I love you more? And what do you need right now? Do you need to walk? Do you need to yell on a pillow? Do you need to cry? Do you need to call somebody? Do you need to dance? Do you need to put music on? Like, what do you need right now? So those are things that I want you to keep in mind heading into this holiday season and just literally all the time, because this is constantly going to be happening. It just feels like it's more in your face around this time of year. So I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know how this resonated with you. These are always conversations that I'm having with the women in the Trying to Conceive Accelerator. And I'm like, I just want to bring it to you too, because I know this is going to be supportive for you. Because like I always say to them, it's like when you've been trying for 4 or 5+ months, it is a mindset game at this point. It is a nervous system regulation game at this point. It's not just about a supplement and what you're eating, yes, all of that, but it's really being able to shift our mindset around this and to support our nervous system, because it is, there's not probably nobody who's been trying to conceive that long that doesn't have that dysregulation and go into fight or flight or hypervigilance or having these triggers, not know how to handle it, all the things. So anyway, I hope this is helpful for you. Message me on Instagram, share this with someone who you know would help support them. Remember to go check out the giveaway if you're listening to this in real time. And as always, you can leave a question on the show for me to answer. But thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode and learned something valuable, please share it with a friend who you think would also love it, or post it on social media and tag me so I could personally say thank you for helping me spread this important message. I am beyond grateful to be here with you. So until next time, stay intentional, stay consistent, and always mind your hormones.